I think I've got record. No, that's YouTube. There's record. We're live to the world. I think. Let's find out.
The world can see me chewing my gum.
Yeah. Well, right now the world is just seeing this web page, YouTube page, which says live now. So that's cool. And there's the that's the standby page. That's the warm up the audience page.
We're going to have to get some dogs for that.
Send me dog pictures.
That was last week's show.
Yeah. I'm calling this My Pillow. MyPillow.com. Okay. It was supposed to be... No, yeah, that's supposed to be more the two-shot, and it is a two-shot. The official start of the show is like this. I can never remember how to do this. I always forget.
Cindy should write it down.
And she's not my recording secretary. I should write it down.
Yes.
But, I
figure only she remembers it. That's why I was going to have her write it.
Well, I can dope it out. I figured that if I stumble through it every time, it's cute and endearing.
That's exactly what it is. Should I write it down?
and hold it up on your screen. From the studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Cary. And where are you now?
I'm in the dining room.
From the dining room
in Bull City.
In the Bull City, the city of medicine, the city that never sleeps. Oh, that's a song about San Francisco. It is the Triangle Talk Show. And that is the time that people listening to the audio podcast get to hear the music.
And the cheering and wild applause occurs.
Yeah, that's it. That's what happens. And here we are. It's episode 21. We're going to talk some politics and some other stuff. July 29th, 2018. The episode title, I don't care. I don't care. Or as you'll discover that it really is more like this. I don't care. Did you get to watch the clip?
Oh, I didn't. I've been bustling all day.
So it'll be
yes.
It'll be news to you too. You being badass Julia McClung. You know why I put badass there?
I do love my tag. Why?
Because that's what you said in the gun show.
That I'm a badass?
You described yourself that way.
Kind of a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, for the audio audience, you're looking at television titles. It just says Julia McClung, badass. And that's not what I wanted to happen. There we go. I haven't built a little lower third thing for me, a little thing that goes down below the title, but I will. I just haven't taken the time. It's going to say Snowflake.
Oh.
Yeah.
Badass and the Snowflake.
A gender role reversal. You had the strange, silly notion that we could do this show in an hour or less.
Oh, yes. I think we can. Fletcher says we can.
We'll see.
He's going to bark at us if we don't.
Because
the cats don't care how long you spend.
They don't.
This.
They curl up and go to sleep.
Yeah.
So the Snowflake says I can stay up all night. The badass has to go to bed.
Yeah.
Well, the badass has a job and has to take the dogs for a walk.
Yeah.
I don't have to take the cats for a walk.
Yeah, that's another point. That is another point for cats.
Yeah. We'll build a spreadsheet. End up at in a year or so we'll know whether cats or dogs are the thing to do.
I think we know now, but it'll be interesting for the data.
I know, and you know. We know different things. I don't care.
I don't care either.
We'll find out. So I tossed you a list of things, and when we run out of time, we'll either run out of time or we'll run out of podcast. Oh, okay. No, Cindy's got a step ladder out on the landing on the second floor.
Oh, that's not unsafe at all.
No, I don't have a camera pointed out there, but I think she's going to change filters. So I got this list of things to talk about, and we'll either run out of things to talk about or run out of time, and whichever happens first, we'll be done.
Okay.
The first thing I tossed out there, you're in Durham. I'm in the studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Cary. This is the Triangle Talk Show. And
what is the north side of Cary? What's that near?
RDU, just south of RDU, right along I-40.
Okay.
Cary, the north end of Cary is right on I-40.
Okay.
And Morrisville is over at Airport Boulevard Aviation Parkway.
Okay.
Cary, Harrison Avenue, and then it kind of curves around with I-40.
Yeah.
So
all right, I know where that is.
Kind of defines the northeastern corner of Cary. So what I'm wondering is that I decided to call this a Triangle Talk Show, but I'm wondering, is the triangle too big? Is there?
So what, triangles technically, I don't know anything about Chapel Hill. I mean, it's Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill.
We're going to need another host. Our Chapel Hill host, our Johnston County host.
I go there for doctors, and that's it.
Our Nightdale host.
And nothing happens in Chapel Hill. It's even more boring than Cary. So I don't see why. I feel like we can just, I don't even know why they're included in the triangle anyway. It's just Raleigh and Durham, really. It's not the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill International Airport.
Okay. When I moved here, my understanding was Triangle was Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill.
Yes.
And then Cary grew to be like 7 times bigger than Chapel Hill.
Oh, that's right. Chapel Hills, you're in Cary. You're not even in Raleigh. Right. So really, I'm the only representative of the triangle on this podcast.
It's a good thing you're here. So, I was gonna swoosh the audio panning more dramatically than I have before. This is the only podcast that is in stereo and puts the hosts in different speakers. Not totally different. I'm not all the way on one and you're not all the way on the other, but it's, in fact, let me do that for the audience. Okay, I'm all the way on the right-hand side because I'm on the right-hand side of the picture. And go ahead and talk. And
I'm all the way on the left-hand side.
Yes.
He's left of center and I'm all the way left.
That would drive people nuts. So I'm going to run that back so you just get a little spatial orientation. Okay, so the question is, do Raleigh and Durham, Cary, Chapel Hill, do they share more than an airport? Are you in a different country than I am?
I feel like I am most of the time. I feel like that Durham is more closely aligned to Raleigh and Cary is more closely aligned to Chapel Hill.
Well, politically perhaps, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. Durham and Chapel Hill would be more closely aligned politically. That's true. Yeah. And then Raleigh and Cary.
So what would Cary and Chapel Hill have in common? I've been there like twice.
Cary and Chapel Hill? Money.
Okay. Bourgeois.
Yeah. Bougie. Super bougie. But Chapel Hill, there's a lot of old money. I think Cary has more new money. There's not a lot of similarity, really.
So these are towns that are desperately trying to get away from each other geographically. They're just kind of stuck on a piece of earth, but they don't want to be anymore.
Right. Except Cary will eventually buy all the land up to and over the border of Chapel Hill. So eventually they will be touching.
Yeah. Cary's going to buy Chapel Hill. Carrie's got some land in Chatham County now.
Yep.
It crosses the line. I didn't know that was legal.
They've been doing that. Morrisville has been losing, and Apex have both lost land to Carrie. Carrie just keeps like...
We're exercising our right of eminent domain.
Right, I guess so. Except,
we're bigger than you are, and we're coming in.
Well, Durham, they could then take Carrie. Or Raleigh could take Carrie. That just doesn't seem like a viable stance to take.
Well, you've got a gun.
Yeah, come take Durham. You come take Durham.
Yeah, I'll stand there with my cats over my cat's dead body. Okay, we can arrange that.
I'll bring my pit bulls and my guns to the battle.
Well, we also share some TV stations.
And I don't even know because I don't get local stations.
I mean, Channel 11, their big studio is in Durham. Mm-hmm. Channel 5's is in Raleigh.
Oh, yeah.
Channel 17 is in Raleigh. So, although Channel 11 has got a downtown Raleigh studio, so they're kind of abandoning Durham. And
but we have what's on your shirt.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you have half of it. Half of it's in Chapel Hill.
Yep.
Most
of it, more and more is moving to American Tobacco, though. And then there's a bunch that's in Durham RTP.
Yeah. What the audio audience doesn't get is I'm wearing an ancient faded NPR T-shirt. It doesn't even say WUNC on it. But
no. It's funny because the American Tobacco campus NPR studio does say prominently WUNC.
Yeah. Well, that's the station.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina Public Radio. They put on some airs there. I don't think that they're upsetting anybody in Charlotte or the Triad by calling themselves North Carolina Public Radio.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think they are.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. Well, they've got transmitters in the Outer Banks.
They are
down
North
by
Carolina.
Fayetteville. They've got a little bitty transmitter that's just south of Winston, I think, or just south of Greensboro in Welcome, wherever that is. But Greensboro-Winston's got their own full-size NPR station.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
And Charlotte's got a little outpost in Pinehurst or Southern Pines. They got a little 10-watt translator station down there. So they're all trying to grab territory.
Yeah, if they want it, they can come try and take it too.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
we answer the question?
I don't know if there is.
Your question was: is the triangle too big for us?
Yeah, I'm not going to change the name of the show, but I'm just struggling it out because as I was doing this, and when I first started, I mean, I was talking about stuff that didn't matter beyond about a 10 square block area of my house, just because that's what I knew about. So now I've got somebody in Durham, and again, we need our correspondent in Nightdale,
right?
Lizard Lick. The Lizard Lick towing show is off the air. Maybe we can get those guys to join the podcast.
Well, I think if something amazing is happening within 10 square blocks of either one of our houses, then it becomes sort of, I don't know that we need to have a boundary to it. Whatever's interesting to us and whatever we think might be interesting to others. Or, who cares what they think? Whatever's interesting to us.
Yeah, and that's always been my philosophy of podcasting. It is, I do a show that I want to do, and you're welcome to come along for the ride.
It's
you out there in the audience.
It's absolutely audio masturbation.
I'm not sure I have to push the explicit button yet. But
no, not for that.
We'll probably get there.
That's science. That's a science word.
Yeah. All right. So I think that is fodder for ongoing discussion about what's important to Raleigh, what's important to Durham. They're very different towns.
They are very different towns. And until the last few years, everyone, I think most North Carolinians were afraid of Charlotte and Durham. And sadly, they're becoming much less afraid of Durham because they're all moving here now.
Yeah, it's gentrifying, isn't it?
Yep. Big time.
In fact, I freelanced for a little bit on and off at said public radio station, WUNC. And I mostly did People's Pharmacy with Joe and Terry Graydon. But I also ran the board freelancing for State of Things a little bit on and off. And I talked to Frank Stasio one time about Durham, and he was saying that he wouldn't live in Raleigh. He loved the diversity and all the stuff that Durham has. Yep.
That's why I moved here.
I think Raleigh's got a diverse population. It's just hugely segregated.
Right. And here it's house to house, block to block. All the neighborhoods are intertwined, where Raleigh is neighborhood by neighborhood, and they try to keep the neighborhoods as far apart from each other as possible.
And I've spent probably a little more time in the general vicinity of downtown Durham than I have really downtown Raleigh. I only get to downtown Raleigh once in a while. Again, freelancing for WUNC and also for an ad agency, both in that American tobacco complex. And I would be up there. Back in the day, it was almost full-time work for me, so I was up there quite a bit. And when I freelanced in Raleigh, it wasn't downtown. It was just outside of downtown. So I will say that I got panhandled in Durham a whole lot more than any place else.
Yeah, and that actually is getting more prevalent than it was even when I moved here, because there's so many more people living here. It's becoming more urban, more highly populated, and there's more money coming in. So I think it's becoming a better area for the homeless.
Yeah, I guess. I considered panhandling to be sort of an occupation, and mostly I'm not going to dole out money. Once in a while, somebody comes up with a really good story that I haven't heard before. But it wasn't every day that I was up there, but it was probably once a week.
Yeah, I do tend to give money to the ones that I've known for years, just because their mental illness is pretty clear, and their inability to sustain themselves otherwise is fairly obvious. I know some of them by name because I've seen them every day on the way to work. So if I don't give every day, but I tend to give $20 once a month or so to my friend Keith.
You do know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would give a contribution to the Durham Rescue Mission every year. But I know that a lot of people won't go there.
And that's that was such an ingenious idea to turn that old hotel. So for those of you who don't know, the Durham Rescue Mission is housed in an old, can't remember what the hotel was, but a 4 or 5-story hotel right off Highway 85. So they turned all the hotel rooms into mission housing, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I don't know what the I can't tell if the sound in the background is Cindy changing filters. I don't think that is. I think that's a dog eating dinner.
Do you hear a dog eating a Nylabone? This mic is great.
It is, yeah.
If they're not eating a Nylabone, though, you either have to put up with that or barking. There's no in between.
We'll go with.
I can't believe you could hear that. That's too funny.
It's loud and loud. Well, I'm wearing headphones. Folks in the audience, they probably can't. I'd never been to the Durham Rescue Mission, so I'm unfamiliar with their facilities. Just sort of making the assumption that they did good stuff with money you give them.
Yeah, I think they do.
Okay. Moving on.
And for those of you who don't know, speaking of doing good money, so my background is in nonprofits, and one place that you can always go to check to see how an organization is using your donation, which is something that I always do for a new organization, is GuideStar.org. Have you ever used GuideStar?
Not familiar with it. I'll dial it up here real quick.
Okay. Because you can put in any nonprofit. You can actually see all of their 590s, their tax forms, and you can see exactly how much they're paying their highest paid executives, as well as what percentage of the money they're using for program mission versus general and administrative costs. So typically the less money they're paying their executives and on general and administrative, and the more money they're paying on their programs, the more reliable an organization it is.
Okay. Are you seeing my screen?
I am.
I'm not seeing all the details that I'm looking for. Geography, organization.
So can you click on the...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you click on that, then you can get down, you can see the summary of who they are, when they were founded, the different programs, who else they do business as, and then all of their 990s. Did I say 590s before? I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, you can see their 990s under the financials section.
Oh, I see. Looks like I need to sign up to get very much information. So
yeah, it's free though, and you can also you can also see the board of directors and their highest paid employees, but you do need to have a sign in.
Okay, I'll do that one day. Mm-hmm. All right. Oops, that's the shot that I want. Cindy is now in this room.
Hi, Podwife.
Do I have a speaker up?
I'm doing the needful.
You're doing what?
She's doing the needful.
Oh, okay.
Do the needful, Cindy.
Whatever that is. Let's see.
The needful is whatever needs to be done.
Okay, that camera is going to be nowhere near where it needs to be, and I'm not going to worry about it right now. Oh, Cindy says, no camera. She's just doing the perp walk thing. All right, so can we move on?
Let's move on
to the titular subject of the show, the eponymous subject. I don't care.
I don't care either. I don't care if you move on. I don't care if we keep talking about GuideStar. I just don't care.
I don't know if this has been something that has ever been on your mind. It's been on a lot of people's minds. Trying to understand the mind of a Trump voter.
Yeah.
I'm giving you the little space there to.
I've talked to them. I've tried to understand.
What did you get?
I've gotten a variety.
Excedrin headache.
Yeah, I've gotten a variety of things. Some of them are people that I like, actually. Don't respect, but like.
Used to respect.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You sort of. No, not really. But a lot of rhetoric about. Well, it's all rhetoric. Actually, there was a great political cartoon in the paper today about. I actually have that. I could put it in front of the camera.
Is that the News and Observer?
Yeah, and it's in.
You actually read the News and Observer?
No, my mom gave it to me.
Oh, okay.
Because there was an article about serial killers in it, North Carolina serial killers. And I do like serial killers.
I kill a bowl of cereal every morning.
I don't even know if you can still hear me while I'm...
I can because of the headphones.
Oh, and if you can hear the dogs, you can certainly hear me wherever I am in the room.
Good rattling.
Oh, here it is. This is sort of how I feel. Can you see that? Oops.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Okay, and when you hold still, it gets clear enough. Yeah, that's not from today. That's a couple days ago. But yeah. Yeah, for the audio audience, the radical agenda, healthcare, justice, living wages, housing, education, women's rights, campaign reform, environment, etc. From the can't read the conservative agenda.
Yeah.
Big money politics, wider wealth gap, division, shun allies, break treaties, discourage voting, more guns. Wrong side there. Casino economy, sow fear, etc.
And then he says at the bottom, it looks better if we don't actually put it in writing.
Oh yeah, that was the funny part. Yeah.
So, and I think that's what a lot of it is that it's the rhetoric of making America great again, and the commentary that I get back is, I just want things to go back to the way they were. And if you press people on those issues, it seems to come back to some form of bigotry, be it gender, be it gay, be it black, be it
and it used to
Latino, be it Jewish, be it whatever it is.
And it used to be pretty covert, but it's not anymore.
No, it's not anymore. It doesn't have to be anymore. And it seems that a lot of the people who are for Trump are just so relieved that they don't have to hide these feelings that they've been having to hide from the zealots like us, the radicals like us, of, equality and humanity and humane treatment of all.
There was a glorious time when I would have said, you know what kind of politician I would like? It's a politician who doesn't sugarcoat things, a politician who just speaks his mind and is plain and will just tell you what he thinks and just be direct. I would like a politician that doesn't just weasel all around and try to figure out what it is I want to hear before they're willing to say anything. And now that we have one, I don't like that anymore.
No. Well, and I think it would be different if you had someone who wasn't hell-bent on destruction, who spoke their mind and didn't care what others thought and was actually moving the country in a positive direction, both internally and with our relationships with other countries. I mean, we have a lunatic who doesn't speak his mind. If you had someone who wasn't a lunatic, if it was Al Gore who
sort of spoke his mind.
He did sort of, but in such a boring, quiet way that no one cared. But who was it? Oh my God, I can't believe. All I can think of is Dean.
Howard Dean.
Howard Dean, yeah.
All I remember from him is, was he the one that sat in the tank? Sat in the tank with the helmet on his head, looking like a toy soldier.
I don't know. I don't remember that. He's the one who yelled, and then
you're right. Yeah, yes. the guy I'm thinking of is a generation back from that. Oh, yeah. I read a great article on that. Yeah,
and that's all Trump ever does. That's what every one of us. He spends all day, every day, doing nothing but that.
Yeah. Well, Dean lost some credibility or something. Maybe lost everything because of that scream. Yeah. And
yes, Trump is banging everybody he could get his hands on, and Howard Dean lost credibility because he showed some emotion at a campaign.
Yes, and there was a story that came out about that long after it would make any difference, maybe a year ago. And they had two different microphones that picked up his audio. And the one that we heard on all the broadcasts was a close-up mic right in front of his face. He was in a tremendously noisy room. He couldn't hear himself think. And when you listen to that from a microphone that was some distance away, it barely registered among the din. It was nothing. And that sank in. Even if he was in a perfectly quiet room and that was his reaction to something, who cares?
Who cares? I don't care.
Okay. Well, I think perhaps you're going to enjoy this. This is from Fox News. This is a guy with a show. His name is Greg Gutfeld. Ugh. And he is. I
already don't like him.
He is going to explain to us, and I'm going to put more of this on the show than I feel comfortable doing with fair use. But I don't want to be accused of taking him out of context. I want to give him all of his own context. So this is the clip that they put up on YouTube. I'll play about half of that, and then it goes to an interview with folks he's got in the studio, and I'll cut from there. But I'll play his little monologue piece, and this will explain not everything there is to know about the mind of a Trump voter, but it will explain something.
All right, I love the media. I mean, I love the media. Check out these old headlines. Trump promises 4% growth. Economists say, no way. Or this one. If Trump thinks he can get more than 3% economic growth, he's dreaming. And last but not least, hello, Larry.
If you use the standard of what the administration has held out the hope for, 3 to 4% growth, there is nothing in any data suggesting that we're moving towards that 3 to 4% growth standard.
Oh, yeah? Well, eat this, Larry.
I am thrilled to announce that in the second quarter of this year, the United States economy grew at the amazing rate of 4.1%.
He does have a live audience there. It's not sound effects. I was kind of wondering at first.
So, who could have predicted that?
I believe it's time to establish a national goal of reaching 4% economic growth. My great economists don't want me to say this, but I think we can do better than that.
The optimist. I wish I could find the right sentiment to express how I feel.
I think that's like a home movie of him as a little kid, I think.
I wish I could remember what I was laughing at. But, so as Trump proves the naysayers wrong, what are the naysayers clinging to?
Okay, so I'm going to put a hold on that for a moment, in part so that we can put in enough commentary that I can get away with fair use of playing this long thing. Yeah, 4.1% economic growth for the second quarter of 2018. That's not bad. No. My Social Security hasn't been bumped up a lot, but
no, my mom has actually lost some of hers, and her benefits have gone down. But I'm sure it's good for someone.
It may be good for a lot of people. The stock market hasn't really reacted to it yet. It might take a big bump up. It's wallowed this year. Last year it had some significant gains. Mm-hmm. It's kind of wallowed around this year. We'll see what it does. There's no question that the economists are having to eat some crow on that.
Yeah, that's fine.
And right now, the ones that I'm hearing will say, yes, this quarter, and what they're expecting is, once things even out, more like 3%. But as he's pointed out, they weren't even willing to go for 3%.
For 3%
a year or two ago,
and that's fine. And so let's hope we hold at that.
Yeah.
And
they're also pointing out that
that the rubber band doesn't snap back the way rubber bands snap back.
Yeah, I mean they're couching their comments in this is one of the things you get when you get a impending trade war. Everyone is going to do all of their trade as fast as they can before the sanctions and the tariffs hit. And if you do huge economic stimulus in an era that's already got growth, well, you're going to see that, but it's to some extent mortgaging the future. These are all things I don't understand.
Yeah.
When we get to the point that we can see the result of the predictions people made 3, 5, 7 years ago, we forget what the predictions were. We're just either celebrating or commiserating, whichever way things went. I do believe that the business cycle is not very much in the hands of any president.
And I think, that all these things are great, and we like to think that we're a strong country and we're prosperous and we have stability. But the reality is that most people, the vast majority of wage earners in the United States aren't going to feel that 3 or 4%. We're just not going to really notice it. So
it doesn't hit home. We feel it when we read it in the papers, and if it supports the political lean we've got going at the time, then we ballyhoo it and trumpet it, and if it doesn't, then we diminish it. And that
it's
works.
something else we can. It's something else we can shout when we wave a flag, and by and large, that's the only impact that it has for us.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. If Trump wants to say that he's going to keep things at a 4% or above for several more quarters, well, then we'll be able to judge that when it happens. But not much reason to argue about it now. But that's not the main point of playing this clip. Let's get to the point. Greg, get to the point.
A little piece of leaked audio.
This is the kind of the ugly, sordid stuff that happens behind the scenes at a campaign. Well, at least at this Trump campaign that we're now hearing about.
Well, this tape does show how the sausage is made, and you
really
never want to know how the sausage is made.
I'm hearing two criminal co-conspirators conspiring on making a payment.
The President of the United States tried to tell you what you're seeing and what you're reading is not happening. Don't believe what you see with your own ears.
Okay, so what we got is the yin and the yang. We've got economic miracle.
And the creepy scumbag.
And the press, all they want to talk about, they won't talk about the economic miracle. All they want to talk about is, the salacious, the bad, the Cohen stuff, the tape. Have you heard the tape?
But that's not even true. So if you read the New York Times, if you read the Washington Post, if you read actual, and I do read the Washington Post,
wow.
If you read those articles, I know, mainly just for new serial killers, but they fact check, they report on every aspect of it.
Yeah,
it's all there. What are people going to watch? Well, just like me, they're going to watch the serial killers. They're going to watch the salacious shit. That's what we love. We love the salacious. So if you're gonna fight against for airtime and for audience share against a network like Fox News that is nothing but shock value and emotion, riling emotion, then you damn well better be. You better be giving the people what they want. And what they want is they want scandal. They want saga. They don't care that Trump is destroying the country and probably the world piece by piece in a little way, in tiny little ways every single day. That's not interesting news. What's interesting
it also doesn't fit the narrative for Fox News.
Right. But and you can't, CNN can't report on those tiny little things because those tiny little things are not nearly as interesting as the president boning a stripper.
I'm glad you're on the show. I'm not sure I ever would have said that. That's not the I don't care part, though. And now the I don't care part, if I'm remembering how this goes.
Oh, God, I hate this guy.
Don't believe what you see with your own ears. That's like a fortune cookie that makes no sense.
Okay, that's what Don Lemon said. He just said, don't believe what you see with your ears.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Trump had said, don't believe what you see and what you hear, which is what Lemon was going for. Trump has said, don't believe what you see, don't believe what you hear, believe Fox News. Okay, I think we're getting to the I don't care part.
In other words, it's a fortune cookie. Dumb question. Did anyone die from this secret conversation? Was anyone physically hurt? Does anyone care? Which leads me to a new segment.
Does anyone care? With Greg
All right, tonight's episode, a slimy lawyer secretly tapes his client referring to hush money paid to a centerfold who had consensual relations with a rich dude who later became our president. I know what you're thinking. Where is the honor among playmates?
Not what I was thinking.
Granted, it's not the sort of deal most of us will make in our lives, but Trump paying a centerfold to keep quiet, I believe that's called Tuesday.
What?
Petty cash for playmates to Trump, that's his swear jar. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there are more. You're 73, a billionaire, thrice married, living in Manhattan, and you don't have to share your apartment. You're hanging around models. If you only slept with Stormy Daniels.
Well, I think you're about to find out whose side he's on.
And this other.
Remember the name of this segment.
Yes,
I don't care. How can we end up with I don't care? Can you believe we can end up with I don't care? Here we go.
Your playmate, you might be gay. And if he is, I still don't care. You know what I care about? I care about those new Atkins shakes. I love them. They are delicious.
Oh, God.
ZzzQuil. I wonder sometimes if I love that too much. And world peace. What's not to love? Those things matter to me. Trump's love life, that's not on my list. But now I realized that it matters. For example, right now in North Korea, they're dismantling rocket sites. Why? Obviously because Trump may have slept around. The Europeans just stopped scamming us with tariffs. But according to CNN, before that, Trump may have slept around. The GDP for this quarter just hit 4.1%, and to celebrate, U.S. Steel just reopened a plant in Illinois. But according to sources before that happened, Trump slept around. We scrapped 3,000 useless regulations. We created an economic boom, but Trump slept around. So wait a second. I sense a trend here. What experts call a correlation. Here are all these amazing achievements, and right before them, Trump had sexual relations with women. Could it be that all of this good news is due to that? I know correlation isn't causation, but maybe his sex life has made us all much better off. I do feel bad for the media. They invest so much time in these scandals. Why? Because Democrats are hopeless at understanding sex. Raising income taxes is their pillow talk. Redistribution is their foreplay. That's why they're really good at screwing people. Which is why... Thank you very much. Which is why all this good news, the Dems would rather get drunk on tawdry tales. And they think you should too because, oh my God, he lied.
Oh, come on. Whether the payment happened or not, whether the payment happened or not, what we know is that he lied.
Shows Trump lying once again. What else is new there?
The White House lied about it. When this first came out...
You also kind of wonder who they're talking to now.
Donald Trump knew nothing about this payment.
He's actually saying the president had no knowledge. You know, and Giuliani knows, that is a flat-out lie. He had an affair with her.
Oh, my God, he lied. He lied about an affair.
I think that also means, what, it's Tuesday?
How is this surprising? Accusing a rich old New Yorker of lying about an affair is like accusing Michael Moore of splitting his pants. It's to be expected, and I hate to tell you, this is why lying was invented. Do you remember the first lie? The Garden of Eden, that snake? Oh, no, he's just a friend. As long as there's sex, there will be lies. And as long as there are lies, there will be journalism and politics. I don't condone it, but when there's so much good stuff happening in this world, I just don't care.
I don't condone it. I just don't care.
I just don't care. So in the same, let's see, in the last 4 days, as reported on July 24th, Trump also lied. Made false and misleading claims over 4 days, ranging from the Russia investigation to NATO funding to North Korea to the price of soybeans. So if he doesn't care about whether or not Trump's lying about sex or whether or not he's paying off his liaisons, and if he doesn't care about Trump's wife, who he just completely screwed over with that entirely stupid report, maybe he cares about lies about Russia, NATO, North Korea, and soybeans.
Kids separated from their parents on the border.
Yeah, maybe he cares about that.
Well, I believe that this is sort of the dictionary definition of cherry picking your facts.
Yep. For fun.
But he did it for a good long time.
Oh, he did. I mean, he's got some really coked up writers there working for him. Good for him. And it's nice that he gets such wild applause, which is easy when you make sure that no one of dissenting opinion ever enters your studio at Fox. But do you ever read the Pinocchio fact checker on Washington Post?
I don't. I haven't subscribed to the Washington Post yet. Kind of expensive, so I haven't done that. I'd subscribe to the News and Observer.
I do the online Washington Post, and I don't think you need a subscription.
You can see some pages, and then you run out for the month. So I'm careful as to which ones I'm going to look at between them and the New York Times.
The Pinocchio Report's a good one to check on because it goes both ways. Sometimes people, if liberal media says something that's incorrect, Washington Post calls them on that as well. So it cuts both ways. Obviously, it mainly cuts that Trump's lying because most of the time he is.
The Washington Post, I believe, is up in the 3,000 somewhere in their tally of falsehoods that Trump is.
It's fun and also super depressing. I was trying to get the total number since his day, since he started the presidency, but it's taken me too long to find that.
Yeah, it's a few thousand. I think they've gone over 3,000 by now. And I'm sure that many of them are little things. Some of them will be disputable, but it's one of the things about this administration and the news that comes out of it is that, and all of the networks, all of the anchors, all of the pundits have said this at one time or another and say it more than once. We're inundated by it. We're overwhelmed by it. There is just so much of it that, and deliberately, as you start to say something about the last thing he did, 3 more things have come down the road.
Right. Yeah. It's just like watching an endless, like a train wrecking into 10,000 other trains. Like you just can't avoid it. You can't look away. And yet you can't stand to look anymore either.
And they're pointing it out more. They'll say, well, today's revelation, that's a distraction. We're still, look at the thing that happened a couple of days ago. No one's talking about the Supreme Court nomination anymore. Of course, nothing's going to happen with that until they start in earnest on the Senate confirmation hearings. But you sort of need to gin up a position on that, and no one's talking about it anymore.
Well, nobody. I mean.
And then there's the kids.
No human being, not even the reporters whose jobs it is to do this full time, nobody has the time to produce or absorb everything that's coming out of this White House. I mean, it's so disjointed and distracted, and it must be. I feel like he's smarter than I think he is, just because there's no ways that some of this isn't.
That's the question. Is it a strategy, or is it just the chaos that we've sort of been?
Dumb luck. And I can see how this would work in business as well. I mean, it's the beauty of the buzzword. You can sell a ton of air with buzzwords, and he's one big buzzword balloon, just farting out rhetoric.
And so what we're getting is the anchor will be saying, we really shouldn't be paying attention to every tweet that comes down the pike because they're distracting us from the most. Oh, wait a minute. Look at this tweet that just came out of Trump's. And they're gobbling every morsel.
It's his distraction.
Yeah. So Greg's happy with a philandering, lying president because he's got 4.1% economic growth,
which
in the past quarter.
Talk about I don't care. I don't care. What is that doing for me?
So there's some hypocrisy to it too, because of course when Clinton did that, we impeached him.
Yes, we cared desperately. The Republicans cared desperately when the Democrats step out of line. I don't know why anybody is still surprised by rich white men sleeping around, but whatever. Go
back to the Kennedy era, and we didn't talk about it.
No.
These days we do. But we talked about it and it was bad, and now we talk about it and it's okay.
Suddenly, this guy is thanking his infidelity for the growth of the country. That is bizarre.
Well, a lot of things have flipped on their heads, and one of them is that from a liberal progressive point of view, his sexuality is love life, his private life is private. It is his deal. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I don't care. I truly don't care. I didn't care about Clinton. I don't care about Trump. I do care if I do care about all the rest of it, and I do care
It's quite
about,
a bit to care about yet.
There's a lot more instances associated with Trump than there ever were with Clinton. Do we not care about Clinton anymore? Is it okay for the Republicans to stop caring about Clinton? Do they talk about that anymore? Can they? I don't think they can.
Well,
surely they can't.
It's getting to be pretty old news. Plus, they got Hillary instead. So
yeah.
But yeah, on the right circumstances, they'll polish up that old chestnut and bring it back.
Polish it.
All right. So I thought you might enjoy that. I was looking at the look.
That was great.
I was enjoying the look at it wasn't on screen. The look of horror on your faces.
Oh, you can see me still as I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Well, the audience couldn't. The video audience couldn't. But they were looking at Greg. By the way, I don't know if you noticed what he's got there in the corner.
Is it a unicorn?
There's two unicorns. There's a white one and a sort of a multicolored pink one. So.
And then to say if you're a 73-year-old man who's rich and lives in an apartment by yourself and you're not sleeping with models, then you might be gay. I mean, what a
Which is
scumbag.
Okay with him. He doesn't care.
Oh. Well.
You don't watch a lot of Fox News, do you?
I don't watch any of it. I used to listen to Limbaugh just to sort of keep my eye on ear. Let me make sure I'm saying it correctly. Keep my ear on what was happening on the other side. And I just couldn't stand it anymore.
Let me see if I've still got this. Greetings, fellow Americans across the fruited plain, with one hand tied behind my back just to make it fair for the liberals. How's that?
It's terrible.
Oh, that was terrible?
Because it was so accurate.
Oh, sorry.
It's going to give me nightmares.
Greetings, my fellow Americans. From the gray TTS microphone. I guess I got to paint them the microphone gold now. I can do that one. I can do a pretty good Casey Kasem.
Oh, let me hear Casey. That's a good palate cleanser.
It might take me a while to work up to it, but the phrase I have to use is. No, I can't remember the phrase that I have to use. Alzheimer's is a terrible disease. Try not to get it. Our long distance dedication. Our long distance dedication comes from a little girl in Durham who wanted to hear her favorite disc jockey's impersonation. I have to practice it a while. I don't do that all the time.
That's good, though. So, you don't do that one all the time?
I don't do it all the time. On the other hand, when I was doing some voiceover stuff, I would just kind of accidentally slip into it. And I wasn't even aware that that's what I was doing.
Yep, there it is.
And so I wonder if I can have a conversation between Casey Kasem and Rush Limbaugh. Well, Casey, you're nothing but a liberal West Coast windbag. Why don't you just go back to the studio where you came from and let your golden microphone go away? Well, Rush, I'm not sure that that's what you want me to do. In fact, I don't even think I understood what you were talking about. Now,
very nice.
I've never tried to do that before. I've never tried to do anything like that. That was
Rich Little's got nothing on you.
On the other hand, I can't do a Trump yet. Every comedian, every host, everybody can do a Trump, and I can't do a Trump.
Just
every time when I try to do a Trump, it comes out Reagan.
Oh, it does a little bit, but I hear Trump in there. You don't even need to say anything for Trump. You can just do his glazed over. Yeah, there you go. He's all the
fish
face,
lips.
just, and the sort of almost nodding off look when people are talking about, adult things.
Oh, well. Greg, thank you very much. You made. Did you have anything else to say, Greg? Anything else we need to know about? Okay, yeah. Then he heads on to his panel.
I hope that guy on the left beats the shit out of him.
Well, I didn't watch the rest of it, so I don't know what happened. What you're describing is there's a nebbishy-looking white guy, an old-looking white guy, a typical Fox-looking blonde woman,
blonde chick,
and then this huge black guy with his hat on backwards. And I don't know where he goes. I don't know what.
I like how they have him sitting like far away,
a long way from
in
everybody
a separate chair. Just to be on the safe side. Let's keep him over there.
Well, if you want to look at that, it is on YouTube. Anybody can look at it. I will put a link in the Triangle Talk Show website.
Proves naysayers wrong. Ugh.
As they cling to the tapes with their cling to the tapes with their cold dead hands and their guns and Bibles. You're about to turn into a pumpkin there.
Yeah,
pumpkin.
We're.
Should we even try anything else on the list?
Circling in. Well, it usually takes us a while to say goodbye.
Okay, because I did have my ramble. You didn't add a ramble.
No, I didn't. I hadn't had a chance to look at it. Oh, this weekend's just been a disaster.
And you're the one that asked me for some strategery.
I know.
For some organization so that we'd keep the show to something reasonable and I wouldn't go off on a peanut butter rant.
You were good. You did great.
I got like 6 things here. We talked about 2.
That's okay. I think 2's a good number.
Yeah. Well, the ramble is something from, I was checking to see how humid it was, how muggy it was. Why do we live here in the summer? Why don't we all go to Manitoba?
Or Utah.
In the summertime. Well, yeah, or even Boone, Blowing Rock.
Yeah. Manitoba. Isn't Manitoba humid? I remember being in Canada and camping in the summer and it being awfully mosquito-y and humid and hot.
I think I motorcycled through Manitoba really quick one year. I don't remember much about it.
I think, Utah, that's the place to be. No mosquitoes, no ticks, no fleas, really, though they are having some ticks this year. Totally dry. The shade works. Oh, the dogs are getting ready to kerfuffle.
Yeah, we're thinking about Utah to retire into.
Yeah. Park City, right?
That's one possibility. Maybe down by Kanab. We're looking at Provo. We're not Mormon. We're looking at Provo just because it's more urban than Park City.
Everywhere in Utah is kind of Mormon.
Yeah, well, yeah, Utah is.
Yeah.
But Provo it's the home of BYU, Brigham Young.
Yeah.
University. So, when we go out skiing, that's where we stay. So, kind of familiar with it. But Park City would be nice. Yeah.
Do you want to come up and say hello? Come here.
That is not a dog. That is.
That's my horse.
That is a monster.
That's my horse cow.
Looks cute. What I could see of him. Okay, so I was there on the WRAL website, and there was a Ask Greg thing that caught my attention, and somebody was asking about the Fukushima earthquake and whether it was affecting other natural disasters, whether the hurricane, the volcano in Hawaii was affecting natural disasters, and this is the line from the question that caught my attention. They said that the earthquake in Japan was so strong that it knocked the Earth 8 degrees off its axis.
What?
8 degrees off of its axis. And Greg gives some answers about dust and things that have affected the climate and saying that these have not affected the worldwide climate. According to NASA, the mass redistribution reported by the Geological Survey for the Japan quake would theoretically produce a 1.8 microsecond reduction in the length of a day and a 6.5 inch shift in the Earth's axis, a fraction of a degree, not 8 degrees, but maybe a fraction of a degree. No noticeable effect for most of us as earthquakes, tsunamis, seasonal shifts in the tides and winds are routinely called small variations in the length of a day and the axis direction.
I had no idea the length of a day.
Yeah. For perspective, a day length can only be measured to within 20 microseconds. So they're saying it may have made a 1.8 microsecond difference, but they can't measure that. And the normal polar axis wobble already ranges between 10 and 50 feet. And that's all in the normal range of behavior in climate and weather systems.
So are the poles reversing?
The magnetic poles?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think so. Don't think that that's happening. I don't want to be 100% sure, and that's another part of the rant here. So really quickly, based on that, the next time I trip on my own feet for no apparent reason, I'm blaming it on an earthquake shifting the earth a few inches.
Oh, there you go.
Whoa! Didn't feel that coming on.
Are there events that happen that shift it back?
But it wobbles.
So it shifts it a little bit, and then it just shifts it back.
A little bit that way.
So that if there's an earthquake here, if there's a California earthquake, then it might right it.
Yeah. They say, Greg said, wobble ranging between 10 and 50 feet.
So, I mean, if we look at it the way Gutfeld looks at things, then if we have enough earthquakes, we could ostensibly increase the length of our days. And don't we all want longer days?
I mean, it could now be 1.8 microseconds. It didn't say longer or shorter, but it could be that much different.
Yeah.
I looked around to see, who was reporting that there were 8-degree shifts, and there's a CNN story that says that the coast of Japan shifted by 8 feet after Fukushima, and the axis by that couple of inches. And that led me to believe in the WRAL article, I don't know if it was Greg who wrote it or someone else, but they said, we're not sure where the information about the 2011 quake's 8-degree axis came from. We're not sure where it came from. And so what I'm wondering is, how did the phrase, I'm not sure, how did that become the go-to substitute for I don't know?
I don't know.
Or I have no fucking idea. How did I'm not sure?
I'm not really sure when that happened.
As it turns out, I'm not the only person to have wondered that.
Really?
I put it in the Google, and I got back a website called Quora.com with the title, Why Do Some People Say I'm Not Sure instead of I Don't Know? And I want credit for thinking of that question before I Googled it. And I guess maybe that's obvious, because why would I have Googled it
if you hadn't thought of it? Yeah.
Quora had several responses. It's bulletin board type. Ask a question, people answer. And a lot of the responses were along the line of, well, it shows some familiarity with the subject, but also uncertainty. And I think, yeah, maybe most of the time, most people, okay, just me, use it when what they should say is, I don't know. I'm not, but I'm not sure.
In that case, I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody's giving it that much thought. that in some cases that people who say I'm not sure wouldn't use I'm not sure for topics where they have some familiarity and use I don't know for topics that they have no familiarity. They just have a preference for one or the other.
Yeah, I think it's they don't want to seem dumb. And I don't know, it sounds dumber than I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They want to waffle, they want to qualify it. Quora had a bunch of I kind of got to the average, but they were going in those different directions. Give them a little credit. Maybe they're just, maybe they do know something about it, but they don't want to take a stand, or maybe they just don't want to admit. I don't know anything about it.
I don't know nothing.
I don't know. I do know a fair amount of writing, and I do know that I have found myself typing "I'm not sure" when what I meant was "I don't know."
So in this case, though, with that quote, it is possible that they have 200 possible sources. So, and any one of those could be the possible source. So they're not sure which one is the possible source.
You're talking about WRAL.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe. I couldn't find an 8 degree. I couldn't find a website talking about 8 degrees. I did find a website. I thought I had it here. A website that said something about it. Do I have a link? I didn't give myself a link. Oh, well. I found a website that had all kinds of crazy stuff with no attribution, and that was one of the things. And that's something where it would come from.
You can probably find that on an Ancient Aliens website or something.
Yeah. I didn't keep that link. I don't know why. In any case, CNN said an 8-foot shift in the Japanese coastline, that's pretty significant. That would make you fall over. And maybe that was where the 8 came from. I don't know. So I don't know.
Everything is the whisper game. With the whisper game.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this puppy up. Get back to the control page and give you credit for being a badass there. I came from Hawaii.
Yeah. And this is, just sort of the peace sign.
Yeah.
Really.
I understand that there's a difference between this and this.
Yeah. I think this is something else. But this is definitely more me.
I see things on the web, on YouTube and stuff.
That's rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, okay. Well, some guy had a YouTube show called Equals 3. And all he did was show funny clips that he stole off of YouTube and make fun of them. And then he would do Equals 3 or something. I don't know. I'm old.
Me too.
I can't run with the kids no more.
Or with scissors.
I can run with scissors and live. That's my version of living dangerously. When I was a kid, I couldn't run with the kids, so I'm not expecting to be able to now. Nothing sadder than a guy my age trying to pretend that he's woke.
Woke. Oh God.
And even just using that term seemed somehow wrong.
It was pretty funny, though.
Yeah, I'm a woke 68-year-old.
You're Cindy's woke bae.
Yeah. We'll make fun of the language another time. You are?
I am Julia McClung, badass.
Yeah. I'm Gary Pierce, snowflake. This has been episode 21. I don't care. Don't care. Remember how we close the show?
I do. I'm ready for it.
You want to begin?
Oh, no, you begin. I only practiced the second part.
Okay. Over.
And out.
And now I make the YouTube go away. Bye, YouTube.
Bye.